Welcome to Next Topic Podcast, where the only rule is to stay on topic and no topic is off limits. My name is Lo. I'm joined by
Shad.
Auntie Cam.
Abel.
and today is episode number 33, August the 25th. And for this episode, we are going to be talking about capitalism with, I guess to kick us off, this conversation is going to stem from a tweet that Roshad had seen regarding get the bag culture. So Roshad, do you want to go ahead and kick us off with this tweet?
Yes.
Wait. Why'd you quote get the bag culture like it ain't a real thing?
Whatever. I did what I did.
I think in the tweet it was quoted too.
Thank you.
So,
because it's a phrase. It's like something people say.
Secure the bag.
Okay.
Anyway, so we're gonna base this conversation in a tweet from Rita G. Shout out to her. So basically, the question she posed on Twitter was, "Why does get the bag culture feel so toxic?" And I thought this would be a great conversation to help us get started in capitalism, because it's kind of intertwined in there. So to help us get started, what does get the bag or secure the bag mean?
What's the question, Cameron?
What's Rita G's ethnic background?
She's black, wasn't she? That's what it looked like on the tweet you showed me.
I know I sent you all the tweets. She look a little black-ish.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why do you ask?
I just like to put people with their words these days. So.
It'd still be problematic if she wasn't black.
Wait, so what was your question? Oh, you mean still be problematic? Oh, you mean the get the bag culture?
Yeah. The question could be problematic.
Yeah.
What was your question, Roshad?
The question was, what does, in your opinion, get the bag or secure the bag means for our viewers out there who don't know what it means?
Do whatever is necessary to secure some funds for yourself.
Yep.
Right. I agree.
But it's like that. It's also like
whether it's legal or not,
constantly doing that too. Like that is always the MO.
What, securing a bag?
Yes, like at all times, sort of thing. Like, okay, you go on a date with somebody, secure that bag, sis. Like, no, it ain't always about that.
You losing that bag.
I think that pertains to the man so much as the date. Like, if he got bread, like it's about.
Oh, wow.
At the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? So if you telling your girlfriend to secure that bag, you talking about the nigga, because the nigga is financially.
Oh, I get what you're saying too.
Gold digging.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. In that context, it's gold digging. Absolutely.
Right. Okay. So I looked it up on Urban Dictionary just so we can get some. I think Urban Dictionary is a real source, so we're gonna call it a real source for today. It says to make sure you are getting the money and storing it up.
Oh, really?
Right. And in my opinion, I didn't really like that definition too much because I think it's missing a lot of context in how people secure the bag.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, it means like in a lot of different scenarios, like securing the bag or getting the bag might not always be legal.
Yes.
It might not always be safe.
It's not always ethical.
Right.
But as long as you're getting that bag, it don't matter.
Which is why it does matter. Which is why I said used air quotes, because all it is capitalism.
Yeah.
I see. This is
yes.
And it might not always be always be healthy too.
Yeah. Lauren, explain what your point there with the capitalism and securing the bag.
It's this idea that you're not worth anything unless you have some sort of like bank account that reflects, like your bank account reflects your value in this society. It's that everyone needs to be trying to be, I almost cussed, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg. It's this idea that is what makes you a good person, or like as though it's reflective of how much value you bring to this world. So
Well,
it's like get
it's
the
much,
bag at all times. And there's so much more to life that's more important to me than securing the bag at all times. Sometimes it's about slowing down and just enjoying the moment.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't say so much qualifies you as a good person. I just think everybody at this point, not everybody, but a lot of people, want to be financially stable. And I feel
I'm
like,
not mad at that.
yeah, and I feel like that the get the bag culture, where it rooted from was the Black culture and the poverty ridden culture, because niggas grow up without the bag. Niggas grow up without the money. So at this point, it's grinding and getting the bag. You got to get the money because I don't want to live like that no more. So in that world, growing up like that, getting the bag and being Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, that is value to you because you didn't have that.
I mean, I think all in all, you're gonna need money, right? You're gonna need to be financially stable to live and to prosper. But when your values are like centered around financial like goals, then that becomes a little like you know what I'm saying? Like it becomes a little like unhealthy for me a little bit. Because there's some people that always talk about, like people even say like hop in your bag, like hop out of your feelings, just get in your bag and stuff like that. And it's just like the mentality, as long as I have my money, I'll be straight. Everything else could be whatever. And it's like, I wouldn't agree with that basically.
It's very toxic. And Cameron, I hear your point, like, and that makes total sense for people who are living in poverty and their families have been living in poverty for a long time. It's very important to kind of get yourself and your family out of that. However, it does, to Abel's point, it creates a very toxic lifestyle and culture. And a lot of it is like framed around like immediacy, like getting the bag immediately and not looking, in the long term. And that's where you really get the bag, is when you're looking long term, like investments and things like that. But that's not the framing a lot of people have. They're like, I'm about to scam this dude real quick, get a couple $1,000s, and it's like that's about to be gone as quickly as you got it.
And I think that's just being a victim of your circumstance, especially talking about, the urban impoverished community. They don't have long-term time to think about that. They're in a situation right now. So I got to figure out how to get this money right now. After I get out, then maybe they can look long-term. I don't know. Some do, some don't, whatever they do. But at this point in time, them niggas thinking about right now because they in it right now.
That's a good point.
That part, the getting out of it, Cameron, which is so interesting. We see like with basketball players, rappers, whomever, whatever, right? They make it out of it, right? They buy their mama a house and all this stuff. But then like you still hear about people still fumbling the bag. It's like you had everything at your disposal, and
that's because they never had it and don't know how to take care of it. That's a whole different.
I know, but you said like hopefully they'll grow out of it, and it's like it's the mentality that's just like like you're developing all these like really bad behaviors essentially. Like I think this was just yesterday, like Master P was all on, like went on this whole rant, but to his like it was a lot. But he was talking about how like he made decisions like not to mess around with friends he had or like do dealings with people that he previously did, because he's like, I realized like if I was really gonna like generate wealth for me and my family, like I couldn't be doing that, and like he's a businessman. And that's a one person who I would say is not that's an exception to some of the people who are like, I got to get the bag, and like actually turning it into something else.
Well, I would say like an exception, like all like the top rappers like out there, the Jay-Z's, the Diddy's, and the Master P's, the ones who are like at the creme de la creme are the ones who are not like out here like getting the bag.
Yes.
They are the ones who have wives and kids, and who do like actual like good financial dealings without like trying to like live in this like getting the bag culture.
But the money comes in, right?
The one thing that like I understand what you're saying, Lauren, but then there's a flip side to it as well. Coming from the hood and getting the bag, you still have to realize that you got to deal cutting off niggas that you used to fuck with. You have to deal with that after you cut them off. And the perfect example of that is Nipsey Hussle. You know what I'm saying? He got the bag. He got out, and he came back and was giving back to his community. He was doing well with his shit, and then somebody from there killed him. So it's like it's a catch-22 really. Like it can go either way, and you can only do so much. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
So when we talk about, so I think what we're saying is that the get the bag culture has some toxicity like rooted in there. It's not so much the like getting the bag part is like bad, like your money. It's just like the culture and the effects of getting the bag is bad. So for our viewers out there, like what are some type of ways that people get and secure the bag that like you guys usually hear of?
Shit. I'm getting the nigga, sis. That bag, sis.
Well, one thing I would say is like we focused a lot initially on talking about like low income communities, but I would say like coming from a middle income, family, and like in the industry I'm in right now, it's very much like there's still get the bag culture. Like it's very much rampant there. And I would say getting a job or promotion, that's getting the bag. Which I wouldn't say that's not bad. That's not bad.
Me and Rashad talked about that yesterday though. So we come from like an impoverished family, and like we were fortunate. Don't get us wrong, but where we live, shit is shit. But he works a 9 to 5 or a 9 to 6, because that nigga be at work forever. But but he would, like he said to me, I wouldn't say I'm getting the bag, and I said I agree. You can classify it as grinding. You got an everyday grind. You going to get it every single day. That's not necessarily getting the bag. You're just out there grinding, working hard for your shit. And that's the slight difference between the two. So a lot of people,
I got you.
A lot of people out there grinding for their money, and some people out there just like, hey, I'm gonna get my bag. I don't care what I gotta do. I do what I gotta do. If it's legal, if it's not, if it's ethical, if it's
fast
not.
money.
You know what I'm saying?
Got you.
I think that's the huge difference between the two, and that's why the get the bag culture is so toxic.
Right.
That was a really good way to put it, Cameron.
Yeah, that was, because when we was talking about it, I was like, I don't feel like I'm out here just like trying to hustle and like get the bag. I was like, when I see like get the bag culture, I see it also as like putting like people against each other, because like there's only one bag. So like whoever that man that you're trying to get, it's only one of him. So like you and other sis might be trying to get the bag from this one man. Or say for instance, like if scammers or something like that. Because scammers out here, and the scammer culture is a thing.
Working hard right now.
Right.
Right.
So they're out here trying to scam individuals like for money and things like that. But it's like it's only like one bag to get, and everyone's like trying to go out and like get that bag. And I was like, I don't feel like I'm out here trying to. I think that's a lot of work for like not enough for me. So I was like, I'd rather just go to work and like know my bag will be coming every 2 weeks.
Right, you got that good job security.
You got that consistent bag.
Right.
Yes.
Just trying to like worry about like what I'm gonna do next, if it's like illegal or legal or not, or ethical or not. I just think that's like a whole lot of pressure. And of course, like I'm fortunate enough to like be in the position that I am in. But as Lauren said, I still think it's a part of like this larger like capitalist society that we live in. Because I would say like with capitalism, we live in a different like economic society. Besides like capitalism, I don't think like get the bag culture would be necessary.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Sure.
Lauren, you want to?
I feel like.
Go ahead, Bill. Wait, hold on. Before we get there, can we explain what capitalism is, Lauren, real quick, for people who don't know? I know it's a loaded one, but come on.
I'm like, damn, like, let me pull up the dictionary.com definition.
I was just going to say, if you don't know what capitalism is, Google it.
Like, it's like I can explain it in my own terminology, but let me pull it up but go ahead, Abel, with your point before you forget that.
Yeah, I was just going to say the other one thing I see like that's a problem with like securing the bag too is like there's always a need to get a bigger bag or comparing. It's like not competition per se, but it's like feeling like restless, like I need to secure the bag. And even when you are securing the bag, I want to get more. And that does tie to, I feel like that does tie to capitalism, but
getting money is addictive.
Yeah, and it's like you got other stuff in your life maybe you need to work on, just rather than just getting money. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but once you get that green thumb, it's a wrap.
Yeah.
Like, I can get this money. I know I can get some more. Now I'm gonna challenge myself to get some more money. Oh, I can get this money. How much more can I actually get? So
Yeah.
that becomes your main focus.
Yeah, and you could put your other problems to the side and focus. It's like you let getting money kind of be the escape from everything you got going on in life. I know some people that are like that. They work. That's like their thing.
Because working is a distraction, and
Yep.
money can hide problems. I'm not saying solve them, but it can hide them.
Yeah.
So, according to Merriam-Webster, the definition of capitalism is an economic system characterized by private or corporate ownership of capital goods, by investments that are determined by private decisions, and by prices, production, and a distribution of goods that are determined mainly by competition in a free market. And let's not forget, in this country, what were the goods?
Slaves.
People.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And
Yeah.
so that's where a lot of my issues with capitalism is rooted. It's like it wasn't a system built for us. And so I don't feel like it's something that sure, like I am an agreement that, like, when we all mentioned, like, yeah, sure, you should be getting some money, you know, sustaining yourself and your family, but a lot of it is just greed. We've seen, I forget how many hundreds of billions of dollars it is, but Bezos, Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, and I forget whom else have made hundreds of billions of dollars since March when this pandemic started.
It don't even make sense.
And it doesn't make sense. They don't need a single penny for the rest of their lives, and they and their families and the future generations would be good. And so it just creates this real, like, unequal distribution of wealth. And we have people living, there's no reason, you know, we always talk about, like, America is so great, this and that. There's no reason anyone in this country should be living below the poverty line. There's no reason in this country people shouldn't have access to clean water. You know what I mean? Like, shit like that pisses me off. And I feel like that is, you know, those are some of the downstream ramifications of capitalism.
It's funny. I saw a breakdown of Jeff Bezos's money and what he could do with it. They say he could solve homelessness in America. He can solve healthcare problems in America. He can fix Flint's water. And it was one more thing and still be a billionaire.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I believe that.
The thought of that is ridiculous.
Ain't that crazy?
Right.
That's ridiculous. That's 4 major issues in our nation that can be solved by one person, and it's not.
But because he's too busy securing more bags.
There's like, there's no reason to. And
he just don't want to. I'm like,
that part.
He just don't.
Because I think we were talking about some episodes ago. I don't remember what the topic was, but I was like, yeah, and these people buying these, like, you know, $1 billion yachts and all this stuff, and I'm like, I mentioned, like, that doesn't excite me. I don't need that. I don't ever need to have that. Even if I had the money to get that, I would feel bad about it, knowing that. Look at Cameron. See, this is why I wanted to bring this up, though. It's like, because for some people, they're, like, really, like, motivated by that or would love to achieve that in their life. And I couldn't care less.
I mean, I couldn't either, but it's like, if I got it and I've never had one and I can afford it, if I could buy it twice and I could buy it once, that's my thing.
You would buy it and then keep it?
Yeah, why not?
It's
I mean,
to me, it's a waste of money.
I'm not saying I'm still not going to do good with my money, because I know where the fuck I came from. So if I ever get in a position to do something about it, I will. But also, if I can afford a fucking yacht, Cameron's getting a fucking yacht.
And he about to create a studio in that thing.
I think it's fair to get a
yacht.
I think it's fair to get a yacht. I'm talking about, like, people spend these, like, ridiculous amounts of money on it. It's like, what's the reason?
Yeah, I want to fucking.
You got a whole, like,
No, I want a $200 million yacht.
No, usually the reason is like, oh, well, I want to show how much money I have. That's a lot of the reason. Like, because there's no other, it's you, your little person. Like, you can't occupy all the space on this big ass yacht. I mean, like, people will be getting like cruise ship.
It's gonna make my friends, my
like,
family. I gotta make sure my chef has his quarters. I gotta make sure the cleaners have their quarters.
Right. I'm creating jobs.
okay, when you look at it like that, Cameron, that is fair, but you're not running, like, this yacht is not operating, 24/7. But I mean, that is another, benefit of doing something like that. Yes, you could be creating, economic opportunities for other people. And with that, sort of framing in mind, I'm okay with it.
Let's be clear. It's not that many jobs you're creating by having a yacht. Let's be clear with that.
No, but I know, but
Don't
to
say
Cameron's
that
point, like,
before I
if he
invite her
had
to
a
my
whole
yacht.
staff and whatever, fine. But I agree. It's not. That's why I said, like, are you offering them healthcare, dental coverage, all this other stuff that a lot of people have jobs right now and they don't have,
So the question is, since you guys or Lauren specifically have like a problem with capitalism and its capitalist society and securing the bag, what other type of society you think would be better?
It's really hard. Oh, go ahead, Cameron.
I'm saying, or beneficial, like, because something could be better and not beneficial to the masses. So
Yes.
what could be beneficial?
I feel like a mixture of.
Wait, this is Lauren's question.
Oh, my bad. Yeah.
Well, I want to let Abel talk because Abel don't really get, like, let him talk. Go ahead.
Lauren's gonna be like, "Oh, child, I forgot."
No, I'm not. I'm here. Do I ever forget?
No, that's right.
I was gonna say like a mixture of a little bit of capitalism and then socialism will be perfect.
What's a mixture of a little bit?
Like, because so I do think that individuals should have the freedom to kind of like chase financial like goals and financial like I don't know, like basically
money.
Become rich, money. But at the same time, there should be like not a cap, but low-key a control too in a society where it's like, yo, you don't need this much money. So
Yes.
It's like you can be rich, but everybody else got it. Like the society got to be good too. And I think a mixture of that would be cool because socialism is cool too, but sometimes it's like it could be government controlled and everybody check looks the same. All the social, social institutions are like government control. You know what I mean? It could be a little bit like, I don't have the freedom to do whatever I want to do in my dreams.
What is socialism?
Let me look it up real quick.
Yeah, y'all can be throwing out terms. The people need to know what this stuff is.
Got you. Look it up and Google, people. All right. Google. I just Googled it. Socialism, a political and economic theory of social organization which advocates that the means of production, distribution, and exchange should be owned or regulated by the community as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
So the cap part, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about that recently too. It's like, at what point do we say, okay, you've had enough, you've had your fair share? But I don't feel like we could even do that. Like you said, like a mixture of the two. I don't feel like we can do that in a capitalist society. Like you're not going to be able to stop someone. But I also I do believe that everyone should have healthcare. I believe in universal healthcare. I also believe that everyone should be able to get a college degree without, going into thousands and thousands of dollars of debt.
Come on, Bernie.
Especially in a society where,
Come on, Bernie.
Well, yes. So like some of that, but I'm not that far left. But some of the things I do believe in, and especially in a society now we're living where college degree is basically a high school diploma.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't afford you with any, opportunity that, it might have done like maybe 20, 30 years ago. So yeah, in that regard, yes. But I really I don't have the answer. It's so complicated. We live in such a, this is 2020. You know what I mean? We've already complicated, society enough.
Honestly, none of this shit matter anyway, because this
It
the last
doesn't.
year this the last
Oh wait,
year
no.
we fucking live. 2020,
Whoa.
December, the world is over.
It's taking us out.
Ridiculous.
It has been a mess. But to Lauren's point, I do think like I don't think we live like in an entirely capitalist society. It is some socialism embedded in this society we live in. I'm like, people can't just go out and just do whatever they want to do. The government will come in probably at a later time than what we want them to come in and like stop people. Like I was explaining to Cameron, like with like if AT&T try to buy like Verizon and T-Mobile,
Oh
the
yeah.
government will come in and be like, nah, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Because like we can't have like monopolies and stuff like that. Or like when the pandemic
like
first started,
Google, Disney.
when these men on Amazon, he bought all the masks and stuff like that and tried to sell them at his own like profit. In a truly capitalist society, he will be able to do that. But just
Yes.
like rules and regulations, we can't. So I think with like Abel and Lauren trying to say like a mixture of capitalism and like with socialism is good. But how much salt and pepper you put into the mixture, we don't quite know.
Got you.
We don't quite know like when like is $1 million too much for a person to have? Is 2 million too much? Is 100 billion too much? Like we just don't know how much.
Yeah.
Like we just don't know, and how much government intervention like should there be? Because
Yeah.
the government don't always do right by people.
No.
Like we know like with countries like with universal health care, we know like wait times could be like 2 to 3 hours just for like simple things to get. Now you go to the hospital, you pay a $10 copay, you in and out within an hour. And sometimes like universal health care in other countries, like everyone is able to get it. Of course, anybody can go.
Yeah, I definitely think I think everything has its flaws.
Yeah.
And however, specifically just talking about healthcare, what is so important about like ensuring people have access to healthcare at all times is the fact that you prevent them from showing up to the urgent care or emergency department with preventable like diseases.
Medication is the key to universal health care.
You said who?
Preventative medication.
Yes.
To universal health care.
Yes. And so it's like we're dealing with and our healthcare system, like the for-profit nature of it, and like the big pharma companies and how they're all like
to go.
It's just so bad, you know what I mean? And so like they benefit from having sick people, like sicker the better. And they're in their case, like if everyone was healthy and living healthy lives and had access to doctors who tell them like, you know what, your blood pressure's been trending high, you might want to cut back on your salt intake, get some exercise, then what happens to the pharma companies who are prescribing all the medications and whatever? You know what I mean? If you have a healthier society, I feel like they don't want us to be healthy.
They don't.
No, so
before we wrap up, I do have one question about that. If we did do something like that where universal healthcare wasn't like a profit-based thing, would there be as many doctors? Would so many people go to school for that? Because like doctors get paid a pretty penny. Surgeons get paid a pretty penny. So is that still the same quality of work for less pay on their part?
Yeah.
I think there would still be people because a lot of sorry. Go ahead, Abel.
Yeah, I would say yes because Cuba is like a socialist country and they have the most Cuba would like lend you doctors for free type stuff. And they have done it before in like Latin American countries where there was like crisis going on, I think in Venezuela and stuff. They would send like thousands of doctors to to countries for like relief, and they've done that in African countries before too. So it's like
I'm talking a day-to-day basis, not just
yes. What I would say,
I
say yes because for one, like to become a doctor, you got to spend like so much money to go to school for one. So doctors are paid because they spending almost like hundreds of thousands of dollars to go to school.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars.
So you got to pay them to do that. Also, because if it was free, a lot more people would become doctors as well. Because some people are stopped becoming doctors because like I can't afford to become one. So you open up a whole avenue of doctors. So like I don't need to make that much money because I don't have to pay all these bills back in the first place. And then like once you have more of them, it's like more to go around as well. Like doctors, it's supply and demand as well. They get paid this money because there's a limited number of them.
Yes. Yes. Okay, and I was going to say also too, like a lot of people, they go into medicine because they want to help people, right? They say that, and obviously having having a nice salary is, kind of cherry on the top. But as you all know, healthcare is not glamorous. You know what I mean? A lot of these, like Roshad said, it's supply and demand. A lot of these doctors and nurses and other, clinical staff are overworked.
Oh,
because there's so few, because there's all these barriers preventing people from getting into medical school, yada, yada, yada. So yeah, to answer your question, Cameron, I would say yes, that it would still be people, probably like Roshad said, might be more people going into medicine.
Right. But to Cameron's point, like in like a socialist society, it's like where people are like capped for making money, you do tend to see like people's like own inhibitions to like do better, like decline.
Yeah.
Because like it's a lot of like government intervention. Like I don't have to do much to still get my money and stuff I need to survive. So
I hear that, and that's another. I would love to talk about like social welfare programs and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But I think a point Abel made earlier, it's like when you live in a society that's structured that way, then you suddenly become like kind of dependent on the other person, and it's like I know a lot of people. I know I wouldn't feel comfortable with that. Like imagine being like in a relationship and only your partner's bringing home some money, and like you got the kids and whatever. Like it just feels like, oh crap, like I can't. Like I don't have, the liberty to like do things, and I can't mess this up. Otherwise, because I'm depending on that person, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there will be a mixture, but I agree to your point, Roshad, that like some people be like, well, shit, I know I'm gonna collect this whatever $1,000 a month, and
from Andrew Yang, I don't got to go back to work. We've seen it with the unemployment and stuff. People with these unemployment checks are like, go back to work for what?
Right.
So,
but what I did want, an interesting, sorry, before we hop off of this, but one interesting little tidbit I read from a New York Times article was that there are sayings going around that like people who received the $600 checks were actually investing it, which is an interesting.
Ooh.
I don't know who, but this is just like word on the street.
All the niggas
there's no confirmation of this.
Spending it on designer shit and waiting for the next.
That's true. But I know. So that's something else we can get into at a later date. But that's just something interesting to leave you on to think about, how society is kind of developing throughout this pandemic. So with that, remember to like, subscribe, click that link, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, watch our video on YouTube, listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, all that jazz. You can follow me at CoolKey, COOLKEYES.
You can follow Shad, aka me, on Instagram and Twitter at Shads_space. That's SHADS_SPACE.
You can follow Auntie Cam on all platforms at Clicks by Cam, KLICKSBYKM.
And you can follow me on Insta and Twitter at Abby Russ, ABIIRUSS.
All right, toodaloo.
Toodaloo. Secure that bag, sis.
Peace.